When it comes to selling anything online, one of the most important sections of your sales page to get right is your pricing section. And today we're going to look at some great examples of high converting pricing sections, look at some best practices on how to make those work for you, and we're going to have a look at how easy those are to create for your own Canva sales page. Hi folks, if we haven't met before, my name is Wayne. I am a creative director and a brand designer, and I help coaches and creators to up-level their visuals and their design. If we have met before, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about pricing sections, which are essential on any sales page. Now for me, the most important thing to consider with your sales page in general, and specifically with your pricing section, is that what we're trying to do is to make it easy for people to buy from you. We want to remove any friction, any hassle, and we want to make sure that they have two really simple things. All the information that they need to make the right decision, which is obviously to buy from you, and easy signposting through your design and copy so that they know exactly what steps they've got to take and they feel like it's quick and easy to do. So first, a bit of theory to talk about. And one of the things I wanted to mention is this idea that you may see bandied around a bit, which is called choice paradox. And it's basically just something that says, despite the fact that as consumers, we want more choice and we think that we want to have many options to choose from, when we are faced with many options, it actually becomes harder for us to choose. And often people will step away and not make any choice rather than making the wrong choice. And that's why you'll see so many sales sections and sales pages only have 2 or 3 pricing options. It's because research has shown that 2 or 3 options makes people feel that it's manageable to make a decision. 2 options can sometimes make people be a bit frightened that it's a very binary idea. They either make the right choice or the wrong choice. And just psychologically speaking, that sometimes can trip people up. So that's why most often you'll see that there are sort of 3 packages. And that helps people to make a decision. Another thing to really think about is highlighting the benefits of what people are buying from you. So it's not so much about just listing what they get, but it's more about making sure that with your sales page and even in your sales section, your pricing section, that you emphasize what this is going to do for them or enable them to do. So instead of telling them they're going to get 15 videos and 20 downloads, tell them what it's actually going to help them do. Tell them what they'll be able to achieve with those, rather than just listing those out. Now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, one of the things that is a consistent with people choosing not to buy on sales pages and websites in general is that they feel overwhelmed by all the information, all the choices, and so they just don't take any action. It's a version of analysis paralysis where there is so much to weigh up that they find it very difficult to do that and make a decision, so they'll step away and often don't even come back to it. So a great way to make sure that that doesn't happen on your pricing section is to separate things out. So for example, if you want to have lists of comparisons of what's in each package or what options are available for people, do those in a separate section to the actual buy now or pricing section. So that if people want to go back to that table or that list and compare, they can do that. But when it comes to actually deciding which button to click, they have very quick, clear, accessible information, and they can make that decision without having to refer to loads and loads of lists that may make them feel overwhelmed. Obviously, a big thing with sales pages, and specifically when it comes to people chalking out money to buy your product or your service or your program, is trust. Trust is essentially the point of your sales page, to make people feel like they can trust you and that they can trust that this is the right choice for them. So this is really something that you do, you help build trust throughout your whole sales page. And that's done in so many different ways. So one of the ways obviously is with social proof. A couple of weeks ago, and I'll link to the video above and in the description below, I did a video on creating a testimonial slider. Social proof works incredibly well in making people feel secure that they're making the right decision, that they're spending their money well, because they can see the results that other people have had and they can feel like that could be them. Another thing, of course, is the FAQ section, which is a massively underused section, where you can basically answer all the simple, easy questions, all the objections that people may have that are easy for you to answer, so that by the time they get to the pricing section, they already have the answers to all those niggling little questions that they might be thinking about. Of course, some kind of guarantee also helps, and that should be near your pricing section because it makes people feel secure. And even if you don't give a money-back guarantee, one of the things you can do is put your commitment or your promise to delivering a certain quality or showing up for them or the support they're going to get. Basically, just that guarantee, that promise, makes people feel more secure in actually clicking the Buy Now button. Either live chat or some way of contacting you. You'll be surprised how many people make the choice to click buy just because they've been able to drop a message to someone or an email and they've got a reply back. They've got a quick reply from somebody who can put their mind at ease. So make sure you've got somewhere where people can reach out to you and actually ask those questions, and make sure that that's clear and near your pricing section. Let's talk about the psychology of the pricing section. Now, all of us are aware by now, because we see it every single day, that when things are priced at $1.99 or $2.99 rather than the round number, they seem to be a better deal to us. And there is a lot of research that shows that psychologically, things that are priced at a 9 rather than the next number up feel like a much better deal to us. So it does work. There's also some discussion, and you'll see loads of courses, especially it seems online, use the pricing that ends in a 7. And it's the same kind of psychology. This is supposedly supposed to convert better. I cannot find any research online that actually proves that $2.97 converts better than $2.99. But there is a theory that this charm pricing, as it's called, is because 7 is seen as a much more positive number, and in many cultures it is a lucky number. So that could be why that happened, but it doesn't mean you have to stick to it. It's just be aware that that's why those are out there. It's not something that's going to make or break it, but there is reason behind it. And that brings us neatly onto this idea of scarcity and urgency and FOMO. You'll see a lot of things online, especially online courses and programs. They have countdown timers when you hit a checkout. And that basically means that when that timer expires, that offer expires. Now, there is real proof that this works. Scarcity drives people to actually click buy. So these things definitely have an effect, and they can help just nudge people to actually make a decision when they're on that page and they're thinking about whether to click buy. For me, the key thing is that all of these things have to be used ethically. I think if it feels slimy and you feel like you're trying to manipulate people, then it's not the right thing to do. We know that scarcity works, we know that urgency works, but then at least be honest with it. Tell people that there is a limited time offer and stick to that. Of course, the other way you could look at it is from a reward side. So this is where people do things like fast-acting bonuses. So you get a specific bonus or an add-on if you buy within the first 24 hours or before this enrollment closes. And you can do the same thing with offering people a bonus if they pay in full. So those things for me are the same thing, but a little bit different in that they reward people for making a decision rather than making people feel like they're being punished or they may lose out if they don't make a decision. Another thing I wanted to just jump in here with is to talk about this idea of price anchoring. And the idea basically is that if you have a higher priced product and then a medium and then a lower, people look at the medium product and they compare it to the high-priced product immediately, and so it seems like a deal. What that does is it just kind of anchors your idea of what the price for this product is, what's it worth. So again, it's something that works, keep it in mind, but that's why they do it. So let's talk about the design part. For me, this is really very simple. The whole purpose behind the design of a pricing section on a sales page is to give people clear and simple information so that they can make a decision and click the button and hit buy. Separate it into different sections so that people can evaluate things and look at pricing tables, etc. But when it comes to actually clicking the button, they've got simple summaries and very clear visual signposts so they know exactly what's expected of them. And of course, they can hit buy and buy your product. As I mentioned before, there are whole agencies dedicated to helping people get their sales pages, pricing sections, and pricing pages right. And a lot of us are just small businesses, so we can learn from what those bigger agencies or companies are doing. If you look at big companies, particularly online companies, have a look at what their pricing sections look like. Look at other course creators or other content creators and how they're pricing themselves, how they've visually laid out their pricing sections. And we can take our cues from that, take inspiration, and apply that to our own sales pages. And in fact, even in Canva, if you look at either the presentations section or Canva websites, you can search for pricing within those designs, and there's a whole range of different layouts that you can then use as inspiration and customize with your own brand and colors so that it's easy to create these without having to start from scratch. And we're going to look at a couple of those in a few minutes. Before we go any further, if this all sounds like a lot and you're struggling to kind of think about what sections go where and pulling all these pieces together for your sales page and your pricing, don't worry about it, I got you. If you check in the description below this video or go to the link that's on the screen right now, you can download my free Canva sales page template, which is a blank template with all the sections you'll need for a high converting sales page, strategically designed and structured. And you can also access a whole video series on how to customize it, publish it, and connect it to your checkout. And also there's a PDF that comes with it to help you along the way. So please go to that link on the screen right now or in the description below, and you can download that sales page template for free, so it makes this whole process a lot easier. So let's have a look at a few examples of really great companies that I know do very well with their online sales, so we can see what we can learn from them and how the best practices that we just talked about are applied on their sales pages or sales sections. So let's have a look at ConvertKit, who are one of the software services that I use for email marketing for myself and my clients. If you just have a look at their pricing section itself, you'll see they've just done 3 columns which are easy to compare. But what they've done that I think is really clever is they've got the button to start the free trial above the full list of features or what comes with it. And that means that people don't have to troll through all of these before they're asked to click the button. They can do it here just based on a very quick summary of what they get for each package. The other thing that I think is really clever with what ConvertKit have done is where they've listed what you get in each package. Instead of having a short list that gets longer depending on what's included, they've actually put the whole list on all 3 and crossed out what you don't get on the other packages. Another email software provider, one that I love, is Flowdesk, and they've got this pricing section, which I just think is so cool. Again, it's very in line with their brand, which is all about design and these really elegant, stylish sections. And they've got a description, they've got a very brief summary of what you get in each one, and you can look at more features if you want to. But the other thing, of course, is that they've included little images here to really bring it to life and make each one very distinct. Another great company that I love and I work with a lot is Teachery, who are an online course platform run by incredible people with an amazing community supporting them. And they just have a very simple pricing structure. They don't have tiers of pricing. What they've done is they have a monthly plan and a yearly plan. That's basically it. Those are the 2 options. And the great thing is what they have then done is they've decided that the features are available to everyone. No matter which plan you're on, you get the same features. So I just think it's a really great and different way of doing pricing. It makes it feel so authentic, and it also makes it feel really fair that if you can't afford the annual pricing, you can still get all of those features. And I think it's really in line with their ethos of just being very straightforward and simple and human about what they do. So I think it's a great way of doing it and a different way of presenting your pricing. If we have a look at somebody like Samcart, whose entire reason for being is to help people convert sales, if you have a look at their pricing, it's very similar to what we've talked about. They've decided to name their different levels of pricing, and I think that fits with where people are in their business at the time, so that makes a lot of sense. Again, they have a free trial, which helps people get into the process of buying from them and clicking through. And then they've got the list of what's included underneath those pricing buttons. So I think that's really good. It's a pull down so it doesn't look too overwhelming, but it means that people have the decision and the button up here before they get overwhelmed by any of the content. If you wanted to have a look at somebody that does online courses and has been doing it successfully for a number of years, Amy Porterfield is one of the biggest names in online programs and education. And if you have a look at one of her programs, this is how simple her pricing is. And you can see again, she's got 3 options, but these are based on different amounts of payments or whether it's a one-time payment. Above that, she's got an image that brings it to life so it immediately feels tangible to people. And then, as we mentioned before, she's got these little icons underneath here, which immediately tell you that you're going to a secure checkout. So it puts your mind at ease, and by the time you've actually gone through to put your details in, you already feel like you can trust the payment process. So it removes any friction that could cause. So within Canva, I am using a Canva website, and I've created these pricing sections within Canva websites just as individual separate pages. Some of these I created from scratch, and some I have taken the basic layout from Canva's existing templates. So this first one is from one of my pre-made sales pages, and you can see it's just 3 very simple boxes which enables people to see in bullet points what's included in each package. And then there's the Buy Now button, where I've used some little animated graphics from Canva's graphic library or Elements library to draw attention to that. I've also put a label on that tells people that this is the best value one, which is the one in the center, and they're immediately drawn to that because it's also slightly bigger. A simpler one is this next one, which just has 3 different options for this. And in the right-hand side, I've included a video from Canva's library, which you could use just to bring it to life if you don't have imagery that works for your product. So for something like this, where it's an excursion they're selling, we've just used a video to bring it to life. But the pricing is all on the left-hand side, easy for people to see which one and what the cost is. And obviously the call to action is highlighted because that's one of the most important things about any pricing section. This is a section inspired by the Flowdesk one that we just saw, and I've created this using essentially my offers for sales pages. And again, bringing the images in just really brings it to life and gives people an idea of what they're getting. And the call to action is prominent and a different color so that it's immediately visible to people when they hit this section. They don't have to try and find where to buy. We've made it easy for them to click the button. Another one from one of my pre-made sales pages. This one just has 2 options. But what I have done here is I've included a template for you to have an early bird discount. So this would be pricing that you would run for maybe the first week that your enrollment is open for a course or your product's on sale. And it basically adds that idea of scarcity or urgency. And people know that when this expires, it goes back to the regular price. So we've included the regular price on here, but it's kind of scratched out. So people can see what it's going to be when it actually hits that time and it expires. And it just gives you a little way of adding that urgency and scarcity without it being a countdown timer. It just makes it very simple and clear and easy for you to do. And again, this is all just created in Canva. I also thought this was a great way of presenting information. It's easy for them to look and compare the products, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. And again, you've highlighted the one that you want them to choose. And I think that's a really nice way to make it very simple for people to get the information you want. Icons and graphics really do help to break up text, as does a lot of white space around the outside. Don't crowd the textual information and the buttons, because that will make people feel like there's too much information for them to take in. So visually allow space around all of the feature lists and the buttons so that it's easy for people to make a decision. So that one, which is very different, but again just has essentially a 3-column option for people to view. And then there's this one, which is a pricing comparison table, which allows people to see exactly what they're getting and compare them, but it doesn't have buttons. So again, this is something where you could have this for them to really look at, and then on the pricing section, keep it simple with just the prices, a summary, and the buttons. One of the things I did want to show you is if we preview this page in Canva's website preview, you'll see that these all preview really beautifully in the desktop view. You have to consider when you're doing a Canva sales page what it's going to look like on mobile. Almost 50% of purchases are now made through mobile devices, so we need to think about how that looks. Now, if you have a look at some of the sections that I did at the beginning of this website, everything really aligns nicely. It just stacks one on top of each other. Everything is still clear. You can tell exactly what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to click. So that will make sense. So bear in mind, if you're using a template from Canva, that you may need to reformat to make sure that it fits on Canva websites when they're viewed on mobile. And the easiest way to do that is I just broke these down into 4 boxes rather than having the 1 box behind the background. And you'll see they then stack really neatly, still highlighting the one you want them to choose, and that's just really easy and it formats beautifully. I did the same thing with this where I broke it into 3 different columns so that it doesn't squash it. And again, it's just a really nice way of doing it. You've still got a gradient in the background and it makes it really easy for people to see. The pricing table is one that it's worth considering how these will be on mobile because it can get really crowded. And what I did was just bring it in so it's a little more square, brought up the size of the text, and I put the title at the top, and you can see that makes it a little more readable. And then I've put 1 button at the bottom which allows them to go to the pricing section where they will click Buy Now. And so that's how I would get around that. But I wanted to show you how beautifully these format and look in desktop and how you can amend them to make sure that they work in your mobile view. So these are done just in Canva using templates from Canva's library. And the way you do that is when you're in your Canva sales page, if you go to the Design tab on the left, you can then search for price or pricing. And then these presentations have pricing sections or pages within them, which you can have a look at and see what they look like and add them to your sales page should you wish. As I mentioned, the other thing is that there are a lot of pricing options if you go into Canva's presentations. And when you search for pricing within templates here, you will see that there are actually whole templates of 11 pages that just have different pricing layouts for you to use. And all you need to do is to make sure that they work in mobile if you're going to include them on your website. I really hope this has been helpful, folks. The pricing section of your sales page is obviously really essential to get right, and these kind of best practice examples can make such a difference when you apply them to your own sales page and can really up the conversions of that section. So please have a play around, look through the examples and see if there's ones that fit with what you're offering. If you have any questions, please drop me an email. I'm always more than happy to have a chat via email. And please check out that free sales page template. As I say, the link is in the description below and on the screen right now, and it has all the sections that you will need, as well as a video series and a PDF guide to help you get your sales page, high converting sales page, designed and ready and live with minimal fuss. Thanks again for joining me, and please sign up for my weekly newsletter. It goes out every Thursday and it will update you on new tutorials as well as new resources and when my sales page templates are live on the website for sale. So thanks again, have a fabulous day, and I will see you next week.